The Harley Davidson aftermarket is just full of worthless crap, just almost up to it is the amateur hobby machine market with worthless tools. It's just absolutely worthless. If it's not in the Sterling Brown and Sharp catalog, you don't need it. It ain't going to work anyway, especially if it's made out of anodized aluminum. There's plenty of anodized aluminum junk made for Harley Davidsons too. So you got to make your own tools, and I can tell you that this is a very good lathe for making your own tools, whatever endeavor you are in. And let's have a look at a tool I made, okay? Right over here, I got it on the axle sun over here. Short of bench space here, but I get by anyway. Well, what this is, it's similar to a Kaoli automotive tool. I call this a rod vise. So I made these parts on the Monarch 10EE. I ground this plate here on my old Herrig 6x12 surface grinder. And I did the machine work on the jig bore, of course, and this is gauge square, you know, I mean, I worked on it. So the way this works, very simple. It's an expanding mandrel. It's got these segmented pieces, you see, and there's a limited range for this thing, so for the range of oversized rod bearings, you know, there'll be the nominal size inch and 5/8 plus possibly up to 4,000. So it doesn't have to adjust very far or have a place where it gets inaccurate because of too much adjustment. Well, this holds the rod perfectly square, and I mostly use this for custom rods. This happens to be a set of S&S rods for Sportster, and these were in that K model along with a set of forged flywheels, which is ridiculous. So anyway, I'm going to see if I can't, I believe these rods are new. They're just discolored from laying around for over 20 years. And these were in that engine, unrun. But anyway, I got to find a stock set of flywheels and rods, and they're real cheap. I'll be able to do that real easy for this 1953 45-inch 750cc Harley Davidson. So this will hold these rods out true. And one of the things I did with old stock rods and stuff, there's a lot of inaccuracy, and I should probably talk more and more about that. But you can get up to 5 thousandths inaccuracy easily on stock rods. So what I could do, I could put this in a mill, and I got a center point here, and come on out with a DRO. And then I put a screw jack under here so I didn't have to make the base so long. Just put a screw jack under here and a table clamp. You can pull this true with a pin in the spindle. Just pulling on it, it'll pull true. Clamp it. Then you got your rod distance. What is it? Older rods are 32nd inch longer, stock rods. But anyway, you can start getting the error out. Now, Honda motors generally about 2 thousandths error in them. Harley motors can have easily 15 thousandths or even more. And that's because of the stacked error of all these things. So, but you got to take into consideration, this is like late 1920s technology. But I thought I'd show that part there. It wasn't that hard to make, and it's just extremely useful. Particularly if you're working with like Carrillo rods or something you can't straighten and you got to deal with the wrist pin bushings. This is a pretty neat deal. Like I said with the sun and hone many times, the sun and hone will follow a hole accurately, but it won't change a hole. So what I did with these is from S&S, you can get some oversized bushings, oversized on the outside and undersized on the inside. And I would turn these things on a mandrel and kind of as needed on a hard-edged chucker. And I should probably dig out some of that tooling. I've got hundreds of pounds of tooling for doing this stuff. So I could put a bushing in there with a undersized hole. Then I took an end mill. I don't know if there's one laying here handy. Don't see one. But you can grind the outside of the flutes while it's spinning. Circle grind it. So the outside of the flutes don't cut, just the end. So I'd run an end mill down here that's about 2/1000ths under the size I need. And do both rods and then finish it on the sun and hone. It's straight from this, but take it off this and do it on the sun and hone, and it remains straight because the hone follows the easiest path. Okay, I just thought I'd point this out. It might be a little complicated or something, but it's really not. Okay, I'll be back with something else. Alrighty, on the table here of the incredible Brown and Sharp milling machine is this complete top end, and 70 over pistons here. And the good news is that the cylinders are a little bit too tight, have a little bit of taper in them. Let's see what we got here. Just, yep, we'll go down a little bit. Yeah, you see it's just in that distance. About out there. Okay, we've got 1/1000ths there. I'm thinking about 1/1000ths and a half total. Get way down in there, huh? Yeah. So what I'll do, and it's not normal back in the days, is I'll put a torque plate on, this is a torque plate here I made for this type of engines, and I'll put a gasket on it, and then I'll torque it to how tight it will be on the engine crankcases. And what happens, and that's what's so nice about these. See, you can, if you try and do it with an inside micrometer, think about it. See, you can rotate it that far, rotate it that far. You know, you can just take, by the time you take one measurement with inside micrometer, you've made 10 with this. And this is a standard Poughkeepsie. Yeah. Okay. So when you torque plate these down, and the skirt will slightly flare out a little bit, and where the bolts are, you'll get a little bit of a pinch ridge there. So these are close enough. I can go ahead and at least get a little bit of advantage of it, torque plating it and honing it on the sun and honing machine. and that'll be a good deal. Hope my voice holds up. The cold's getting better, but the voice isn't. So it's got 2 good heads, 2 ready to go cylinders. The valves seem to be fine. I'll pop them out, but there's just not a lot of wear in them at all. You can take and push these. The wear will be in that direction because of the cams, and they're just not bad. It'd be a little less pulling it out, so I can pinch them together. And they're older valves, and they'll be okay. Now let's have a look at the crankcases. Well, it is true that the Harley Davidson thing can be a bit cultish, and there can be initiations too. And many young mechanics go through this one. And I don't know if you know what this is. This is a terrible trick to pull on somebody. This is a Joe Hunt Magneto. So the old guys, young guys in there, and they'd stick this up to their ear and pretend to turn it. And they go, man, I don't know, I think this needs new bearings. What do you think, Ed? So you hand it to Ed, and Ed goes, yeah, I've never heard bearings quite sound like that. Still pretending to turn it, right? Then you hand it to the young guy. He sticks it up to his ear and turns it. Yeah. I don't know how many thousands of volts these things have, but when it happened to me, I never forgot it. Okay, I'll be right back. Alrighty, after a thorough search on eBay and whatever else I could pull up off the internet, this set of cases is actually a great set of cases compared to what's out there. Now, this is one of the early Model Ks, and it doesn't have a trapdoor, and it doesn't have any transmission improvements. And the gears broke on these things. I got the complete transmission. It appears to be in good shape, but you can't put full horsepower to something like that. In this case, it'd be around 30 horsepower anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and repair these cases. Now, here's an interesting reality. One of the hardest things to find for this is a top end, and this thing has a complete ready-to-go top end. And I'd put the value of that, looking at bits and pieces, about $3,000. It completely shocked me. And this set of cases with a title. Now, that's a big deal here in motorcycle unfriendly Washington State, trying to license something without a title. This has a good title, and it has a mismatch right case, but it's almost like which one doesn't. So what I'm going to do is start working on it. I'll make this welt as invisible as I can, clean this stuff up, relocate those dowels, and I'll show you how to do that, because that's like transferable to other things like gearboxes and stuff like that, or hydrostatic transmissions. One of the interesting things the machine shop instructor mentioned to me at Harley Davidson was, I was talking about my past experience, and I was working in a hydraulic shop and rebuilt all types of hydrostatic transmissions. And the toughest ones are the rotating piston group hydrostats made by Sunstrand, Eaton, and others like that. And for a point of interest, they have the exact same bearing arrangements on the shaft that goes through them. Dual Timken bearing on the output and a needle bearing deep inside. So, okay, we'll take another angle at this in a minute. And here we go. We got the original M53 Linkert carburetor. Thing's a big hunk of cast bronze with aluminum float bowl. Here there's no accelerator pump. It's fully adjustable. And main jet too. And that's just a cherry unit there. Now, I couldn't find a complete one of these things for sale or it had been sold. So this is quite a valuable thing here too. And this particular Magneto, I'm going to plug it in right here and I'll use it on this. And oddly, I bought this in about, I don't know, year 2000 for $40 at a swap meet over in Kennewick. And this thing here is worth about $700 now. Kind of shocking. Now, here's another thing that's kind of shocking. I can part this stuff out on eBay. I've got the whole motorcycle and this and that and stuff, and I estimate for $8,000. So, so I could take that $8,000 and buy a running Sportster that's less than 10 years old. You know, almost brand new. But as cool as those are, they don't quite have the cool factor of this. So I think I kind of poked around. I think one in absolute restored conditions worth $20,000, maybe. I don't know who'd buy the darn thing for that much. And kind of something patched together might be worth $10,000 if it runs. So I'll patch this together in kind of a cool way, and it might be worth $10,000, but going to end up putting, you know, a couple $1,000 in it. So it's really a loser. You're just not going to make money on this. I will come out really pretty good because the thing was rebuilt it kind of crappily. It wouldn't have ran for long, but it's got all the little things that are new in the transmissions and stuff. So it's a go for me, and I'll do the. It needs just a few little places, but the ones I looked on eBay, it's like these rear motor mount. Let me get rid of that thing. These rear motor mounts are just busted out. The whole back of this stuff on most of those cases just totally destroyed. So here is the decision. Where is that? Oh, right here. Now, I've done stuff like this before. You got to leave a piston 100 thousandths thick at the top. And this is 6.5:1 compression ratio, which is high for a flathead. So right off the top, I'm going to machine 50 thousandths off the top of these pistons and drop that compression down. I'm going to come up with a motor that runs without a lot of power, because if you have a normal running engine, these are pretty powerful really for the day, it's going to blow the transmission. So I'm going to make a cool looking running bike, not restored. It's going to be what we called a bob job, not a chop, or just you know, the rear fender shortened, and got loud pipes on it. Maybe take the front fender off. You know, I got the original gas tank and stuff like that, and that's quite valuable. And it's got like a tractor seat. It's going to be pretty cool. So I'll build kind of a hoodlum motorcycle out of it, you know, hooligan or whatever, and something that can be ridden around a little bit, but not highway duty. Okay. not much else to say on that. So I'm going to go ahead with it and talk about some of these things that can be helpful tips. Okay, I'll talk to you all later. All right, one last little tidbit. Now this here is a modern version of that, but big. Now this is the carburetor for real men. I'm telling you. Okay, you'll have a good time. I will be back.